welcome back. So it's been 2 weeks since we inoculated these Uncle Ben's bags, and now we're ready to do our first check. Now, for the most part, you really don't want to touch it. As tempting as it is, especially for first-time growers, you want to just leave the bags alone, not be mushing them around or checking them incessantly. Once you get to the 2-week mark, that's when we might see some mycelium growing out of the bottom viewfinders, and the bag will be on its way. So whether you have mycelium that you can see or not, now is the time at 2 weeks when we're gonna mush things around a little bit to speed up the process so these bags will be ready in about a week. So let's get on with this. What I have here is a little Lysol because I'm in a different room than my grow room and there's probably some contaminants in the air. So you want to always just spray a little bit because we're about to open this box. Now, as always, wear your gloves and have your isopropyl alcohol, 70%, in your spray bottle here and get a nice spray of your gloves. Now, best practice is every time you handle one of these bags to reapply 2 sprays. You got it from Costco. We have plenty of it. You cannot overuse it. I know I say that a lot, but it's so true. It's way worse to underuse than overuse. Okay, so what I have here is, this is the box that I've kept it in, just in the corner of my grow room. Now my room gets about 72 to 77 degrees. So ideally you want the temperatures to be 80, but I wasn't gonna put a space heater just for these. If it takes a little longer for the bags to fully inoculate, I'm totally fine with that. So I looked at these earlier this morning and I did not see any mycelium coming through our windows here. And that's okay. The reason that we inject on the top of the cake here is so that it can colonize the whole bag. You won't even know that it's fully colonized until this whole thing all of a sudden is just white. And that means that we don't have to open the bag or really poke or prod it to see how far along it is. We'll know how far it is and how close it is with this. So just because I don't see anything here for 2 weeks is okay. In fact, you can actually feel the mycelium. Now you can't see it, but you can feel it. You can feel down here, since there is no mycelium here. You can squish it around, it's fine. But as you go up to the inoculation point, it feels hard. That's an awesome sign. I know you can't see it and you want to see it, but it is there. Now, if it's really soft, then I am a little worried maybe the bag didn't take, and that's going to happen to some bags. But this bag, I'm getting some rock hard kind of stuff compared to the stuff on the bottom here. So what I'm gonna do to speed up this inoculation process is I'm just gonna give it a light mushing. You're basically just breaking it up. Break it up. And once it's here, then we're just going to go like this. It's gonna get all the rice up and out. I still take a look, make sure that all the rice bits are out and everything looks good. And so that broke up the mycelium so that it can regrow at a really fast pace once you break up a mycelium ball to get to the rest of the stuff. So what I'm gonna do is, this bag is done, give it one last and put it aside here. Then they're gonna go back in the box, right back to where they were. I won't touch them for another 7 days. You don't wanna be breaking them up all the time. You only wanna do this once, and I like to do it at the 2-week mark. Some people like doing it at the 7-day mark. It may depend on your conditions, how fast your mycelium's growing, and even the species of mushroom that you're growing. So what I'm gonna do is let's do another one of these on camera. Isopropyl alcohol. Nice and liberal with that. So we're gonna take our next bag here, and always looking, I don't see anything, so that's totally fine. All the mycelium is growing right here. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there, but you can feel it. So feel from the bottom here, it's nice and loose. And as you work up, it's like, oh, what is that? It's hard, a hard clump. That is your mycelium clump. So if you could see it, you would be super excited. So that's why I say, don't be discouraged if you can't see anything in the viewfinder. You'll see that at the end, and that's why we inoculate at the top. So what I'm gonna do is just break up this ball here, this magical ball that you can't see, and you're just like, oh, I hope that's mushrooms. It is. And so what I'm gonna do is mix up this stuff. You don't wanna over-handle it, but I definitely want to break up that clump and kind of introduce some of the stuff from the bottom. So now that that clump is broken up, then I take it, give it a nice little thing. You don't check, make sure there's no kernels of rice up here. Usually there's not. Mycelium's actually pretty like, it's like a strange texture, but it's not gonna get stuck up there. It's gonna just stay down with the rice packing. So, got 1, 2, for good measure, put it down. So let's do a third bag. Once again, use that isopropyl alcohol. You can't use too much. So, we have, I'm gonna start from the bottom, feeling around, feels really loose. But then as I come up here, clump right here, right at the inoculation point. That's great news. If you don't feel anything, then it's not necessarily that it's not working and that the bag is gonna be trash. But it's a better chance that this bag is definitely viable if there's a bigger clump. You'll notice that they'll all be different sizes, and that's really okay. So, not much there. What I actually do for these purposes is, if it wasn't a big clump, I'll kind of put it at the end of the line here, and I'll keep track of what is really doing well and what is I need to keep an eye on these bags. So this one had the smallest clump. It is gonna go right here. This one had the biggest clump right here. So let's look at one more bag. Cardinal sin. I was touching this bag, didn't reapply, touch this bag. Everything's probably gonna be fine. But it's almost a game to make sure that you don't forget to use isopropyl alcohol on every bag. So here we go. We're gonna look at this one. Ooh, I like this because this is a great example. Now you can see there's like some browning. It's not even browning. It's just like the grains of rice are just brown and showing there. That is not contamination. Contamination is a big deal. Everyone's super paranoid about it, but that was just natural rice coloring. So don't worry about that. You'll know when you have contamination because you'll go, that's not white, that's not the rice, that's something else. And then you throw the bag away. This one, totally normal. Can't see the mycelium yet, but I'll tell you right now, this is all chunked up here. So I'm gonna break this up. This one is gonna go on this side of the spectrum because this bag will be done probably first of all the bags I've looked at so far. Now it's totally fine, and it doesn't mean anything that the bags kind of will inoculate at their own pace. So don't worry if one is a week or two behind another one. Doesn't mean that it's not going to be potent. It just means that it's taking a longer time to colonize the grains. And that just has to do with just the luck of the spores that go into the bag. So here we go. We got this bag. Just going to make sure it's nice and caked. Check for rice up here. I don't see any. And put it in line. In fact, you can smell that there is mycelium. Now, mycelium basically just smells like mushrooms. So if you get a basket of mushrooms, take that deep smell, you smell mushrooms. You can kind of push this and some of the air will come out and you will smell a mushroom-like smell. That means this bag has something. Don't do it like as your way to check. The way to check is looking at the bottom. I'm just saying if you're dying to know is anything going on in there, you can just give it a little squeeze and you can smell it through the holes. I don't usually do it, but I know how first-time growers are, and you might be a little nervous when you're not seeing it at 2 weeks. If you need that assurance, then just give it a couple squeezes, you'll smell it. Okay, let's check out this bag. Now, we got nothing on the viewfinder, and that is going to be pretty normal. I'm not expecting to see any on any of these right now, and that's fine. Because once again, we're just going to feel from the bottom. It's nice and loose, but then boom, chunk. Big chunk right here. So break that chunk up with your fingers. We're not pulverizing it. We're just getting every grain kind of away from one another so that it can get into the bottom grains and it'll go through it a lot faster. So this bag was pretty good. That was a pretty big size clump. Not as big as this one, but it was bigger than this one probably. So you don't have to do this with the bags. Trust me, you will see when your bag is ready, which we're gonna fast forward here in a bit, show you what it looks like when the mycelium comes through that viewfinder. But you will know, like, this bag is ready. So don't worry if you don't mix it up. It's not that big of a deal. I just do it because why the hell not? All right. Oh, did it again. Look at that. I can't believe it. Twice. Okay. Got the gloves. We're good here. I'm just going to kind of wipe around where I grabbed it. And we are not seeing anything. So we got nothing on the bags. But when you squeeze from the bottom, oh, right there. Nice big cake here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just squeeze nice and gently just to release that ball of mycelium and kind of work it into the bottom rice. Work that rice up a little, and then we're gonna give it a nice check for grains of rice up here. I don't see any. This bag will be ready in about a week. Now, if you don't do this with the bags, it will go, but it might take a lot longer. So that's why we're doing this at the 2-week mark. So I'm gonna do one more on camera just so we can see. Isopropyl alcohol. Why not? A little bit of Lysol in the air. I mean, I haven't used it in a bit, so why not? Okay, I'm gonna check the bottom. Unfortunately, I do not see any things, and that is okay. It's just really nice when you see it after 2 weeks, but just Uncle Ben's rice. I'm gonna squeeze it down here. It's nice and loose down there, and then you're gonna get up to your ball, and this one is actually huge. So I'm gonna break that ball up. That's just a ball of mycelium doing its work. I'm gonna work a little bit from the bottom, kind of get some of that rice up there. And that is it. Don't overhandle it. I'm gonna check for rice. I don't see anything. And this one is gonna go right here. So once these bags are done and you've mushed them up lightly, then you should expect to see a lot more rapid growth. And these bags are usually ready within 1 to 2 weeks. It sometimes varies depending on what strain of mushroom you're growing, and also just kind of the luck of the draw of how good those spores interacted with one another. So don't worry if all the bags are at different stages. You'll know when they're ready to use because we're going to talk about it. So we're going to come back in about 7 days and track the progress of these bags. For now, just do exactly what you've been doing, which is put them in a box, close it up, try and keep that temperature around 75, 80 degrees, and leave the bags alone. They're doing their thing. Just let the magic happen. So let's come back in about a week and we'll do another update on these bags. So 7 days after our mush, we're already seeing a lot of mycelium growing all the way down to the bottom, which is great news. Now don't worry if there's less on other bags. In fact, these 3 bags on the end have none showing still, but right above this layer of rice on the bottom is just a gigantic mycelium clump. So these are going to be viable bags. All in all, it's looking like we're going to have 10 for 10, which is really good. You should usually expect 1 or 2 bags not to take. So that's going to do it for this video. We're going to give these bags 3 or 4 more days to fully colonize, and we'll be back with our next part, which is going to be all about mixing this grain spawn with our substrate. I'll see you there.